Greetings, dear friends. I present to your attention the most common malfunctions and breakdowns that occur on the Chevrolet Epica. All Chevrolet Epica are front-wheel drive, which means that the transmission scheme is as simple as possible. The drives are reliable. CV joints with whole covers are able to travel more than 200,000 kilometers. Through overtime, the clamps of the covers decay and they must be monitored. There are two types of manual transmissions, D24 and D33. Both are licensed copies of the Opel gearbox F23, widely used on European cars. The difference lay mainly in their bell, which is not used on Opel cars, and in the clutch release with an external hydraulic cylinder on the G24 for Europeans and D33 hydraulic release. Unfortunately, in addition to bearing problems, they are quite typical for the European geartrack, which occur regularly but not so often. The Korean copy suffers from an insufficient resource of synchronizers and distance bushings. Complaints about hauling boxes are heard regularly from almost all owners, and the fourth gear flying out under a load is found. If not every second, then every fourth for sure. Unfortunately, it will not work to replace the Korean box with a better European one. The bell of the box is a part of its body, moreover the main one. But as a genre of spare parts, the European is quite suitable since everything is compatible inside, but it is made better, especially the synchronizers. True, sometimes, even with such replacement, you have to suffer. The manufacturing accuracy of the Korean housing is lower, and the bearing seat of the secondary shaft may be of a different size. After 150,000 mileage, the cable drive is often loosened, and sometimes it becomes difficult to engage reverse gear. Automatic transmissions on cars before restyling are represented by a good Japanese automatic Aisin AW5551, but after restyling they installed the newest GM6T40 automatic transmission. And if Aisin performed well on Opel, Saab, Volvo, Ford, and even a bunch of others, 6T40 automatic turned out to be just a Trojan horse. The resource of the Aisin box is limited here by the resource of the well body and the cooling system. A separate radiator for the automatic transmission was not given, only a heat exchanger in the main radiator. With a normally working cooling system, this is not a big deal, but Epica has problems with this. Overheating due to fluid leaks and pump breakdowns occur fairly regularly. While the reliability of Aisin well bodies of non-Toyota series has long been known to all interested parties. With a rare oil change that is less than once every 30–40,000 kilometers, the well body plate wears out intensively, and even replacing the solenoids themselves does nothing. By the way, there are no original solenoids on sale, only the whole assembly is supplied for spare parts. There is an opportunity to buy a Zonox kit for finalizing the well body, but as practice shows, not only everyone will be able to deliver it with high quality. After all, you will need to drill out the worn-out channels to install the repair inserts, and the work itself requires meticulousness and adherence to cleanliness and odor, which is available in 0.001% of car services. As for the oil contamination rate, it is high. Torque converter lockup linings GT are single here. They really do not like intensive acceleration and wear out quickly. As a result, if the oil was changed at best once every 60,000 and at worst never, after 100 to 1,500,000 mileage, a completely reliable box turns into a disabled person, twitching when shifting gears and not pleasing with dynamics. If they changed it more often than once every 60,000 and even took care of normal cooling, installed an external filter and didn't finish it off with races, then after 300,000 the box will be alive. Maybe it will only require replacing the linings of the gas turbine engine. A lot can be said about the 6-speed automatic transmission of this 6T40 series. It can be praised for the innovativeness, low operating pressure, interesting kinematics, low losses, high dynamics. The main pair is compact and lightweight in the form of a planetary gear. In the bulkhead, box is very convenient except for the complex installation of the pistons, but somehow it didn't work out with reliability. The number of problems is overwhelming. Some of them are caused by overloading of the structure. On Epica, it was clearly necessary to install more instant modifications of the same automatic transmission, for example 6T45, and not allow the electronics to load the box so much, limit the motor torque. But for the sake of obtaining high dynamics, the restrictions were abandoned, and if the driver wants, he kills the box himself, there is no foolproof. Low oil pressure creates the prerequisites for early wear of the bushings, which is also facilitated by shaft vibrations. and the box is very hot, causing problems with the wear of the valve body and electronics. If these problems are few, then there is a lot of plastic in the design, which becomes fragile and collapses with age. So, between the valve body and the body of the box, there is a plastic plate, which jars, which is why the oil system is depressurized. The mechanical part of the box is also not happy. Until 2011-2012, these automatic transmissions had an unsuccessful 456 drum. It broke the retaining ring, as a result of which the package turned, the drum broke, and dirt killed the box further. After 2012, a new reinforced design was used. Part number 213550 WBEM no longer has this problem, but in any case there is also a wavy spring in the design which is heavily loaded and with active use of engine power also brakes with a relatively low mileage, often less with the 100,000. This problem has not been fixed. Any version of the automatic transmission has it, but it breaks the same long-suffering drum and also contaminates the box. By the way, the newfangled main pair is very sensitive to the heat of fragments of the spring and, in general, the purity of the oil. In the most advanced cases, the rear planetary gear output wears out, which is indicated by the trolleybus hum. The planetarium costs 50,000. True, at an early stage of the disease it can still be restored, just not by screwing the axles, as many box repair services do, but with the obligatory replacement of washers and complete disassembly. The part was changed to a reinforced one after 2012. The planetary numbered 213584 from 6045 works much better, at least up to a run of 200-250,000, withstanding any loads. In addition to purely mechanical problems, there are complications with hydraulics. Pressure leaks in the hydraulic plate spacer, caliper and pistons are inevitably during overheating and high mileage. Linear pressure solenoids have a short service life, but they themselves are inexpensive, much cheaper than on the Aisin. The black set of solenoids, which is found on Epica in 99% of cases, doesn't differ in reliability and must be completely replaced with the yellow-green kit 213420 key, which is more adaptive, is able to compensate for some of the problems in the mechanical part for a while, and generally serves longer and better. And in any case, like Aisin, there is wear on the valve body plate, which is also treated with Zonax kits, and there are also problems with the quality of their installation. Summing up on 6th step, you need to take Epica with it either the latest years of release or after a major overhaul with replacement of the drum, rear planet and spring, plus preferably with an external filter and normal cooling. Needless to say, there are almost no such options and everyone drives to victory, without changing the oil and certainly not spending money on repairs. The uniqueness of the Chevrolet Epica is that it is one of the few cars under the hood of which a rare Korean inline-6 is registered. Yes, there are also 1.8 four-cylinder engines like on the Cruise and even a 2-liter diesel engine, but our car can only be found with inline 6-cylinder engines of 2.0 and 2.5 liters. The widespread opinion that this is an old Opel CIH doesn't stand up to criticism in practice. In dimensions, arrangement of units, the design of the cylinder head are different, and the block here is aluminum, not cast iron. The 2-liter X20D1 has cast iron liners, while the 2.5-liter X25D1 has aluminum silica. New motors were developed by order of Daewoo, and not just anywhere but at Porsche, and therefore are very progressive in their way. The result is very compact, compressed design, a well-thought-out cooling system, good power indicators, a very convenient layout, a high resource of the timing chain, and very quiet operation. But the Korean performance failed. Minor problems in the form of corrosive and leaking pipes of the cooling system, a regularly bursting expansion tank, pumps with failing of blades, and a braking cap haunt car owners regularly. Other owners even buy tanks for future use. If the hydraulic lifters knock but the original ones cannot be found, analogs from Mercedes number 420006310 are suitable. The resource of the catalyst is about 200,000, then the risk of getting ceramic chips from the honeycomb crumbling into the cylinders increases very seriously. The delicate crankcase of the motor is also a problem, in general not so terrible. It breaks when the drain plug is over-tightened, which is treated mainly by welding. It is not so easy to break it by heating the stones. The stretcher saves, but this also happens. It is much worse that there are at least 2 more serious troubles: an oil appetite with bad cylinders and bad crankshaft. Oil appetite begins due to early aging valve seals and a not very efficient crankcase ventilation system. Less often, cocked piston rings contribute. The problem is partially treated by reducing the service interval from 15 to at least 10,000 kilometers. Then you can reduce oil consumption from 3-5 liters from replacement to 1. However, sooner or later the time for overhaul will come, and if in the case of cast iron engine liners 2.0 is not so scary, then with 2.5 everything is very bad. Seizures on the aluminum liner are a verdict for the block, because the thickness of the intercylinder jumper is minimal. Not every service will undertake to put the liner here, and it will be very thin anyway. True, in a desperate situation, downsizing is sometimes predicted. A reduction in the cylinder diameter with the loss of working volume and the installation of thick repair liners. A popular donor of pistons for Epica in such cases is the Nissan GA16DE engine. It doesn't have its own repair dimensions. Another serious problem is the failure of the oil pump, which is located in the crankcase and is driven by a chain, and unfortunately it often gets sick. Typical prerequisites: low oil level, dirty oil, insufficient viscosity or overheating. The design of the oil pump turned out to be unsuccessful, and now the parts themselves are also in short supply. Usually turns the drive gear on the crankshaft when the oil pump wedges. Many car owners and services recommend regularly tightening the fastening nut or even installing a key by drilling a groove in the crankshaft. By the way, this helps especially if the oil pump is not completely jammed. But it is not an ideal solution. Yes, the wedging oil pump will rotate while maintaining the tightening torque, but it will supply a bunch of chips to the oil system. The best option is to keep the starter easy to crank. If the engine is clearly difficult to start, then you should immediately check whether the oil pump is spinning freely. And take preventive measures, because during oil starvation, as you know, seizures of the crankshaft and cylinders is a matter of time. In general, there are a lot of problems, and not all of them are treated with cares and lubrications. It happens that in caring hands, 2.0 motors demonstrate the wonders of a resource. There are copies with a confirmed mileage of 250 and even 400,000, but this is rare. As is often the case with problematic units, the owner constantly walks on edge and often stumbles. Repairs are relatively inexpensive. This is not a European premium for you, but if you compare it with the price of the car itself, then it's already a bit too much. When buying, endoscopy of the second cylinder is recommended. Seizures often appear in it, and not only on 2.5 liter but also on 2 liter engines. At the same time, you need to measure the compression visually assess the condition of the pistons. Soot will indicate an oil appetite with the prospects described above. On this, information on the problems of the Chevrolet Epica is exhausted. If you know more or disagree with what you heard, I'm waiting for you in the comments.